pleased to have with me today one of my close personal friends and somebody that is well known in the Joe community, somebody that I have wanted to hear more from in a long time as far as allowing the Joe community to hear what he's all about, hear a little bit more about him. I'd like to welcome with me today noted author James Kavanaugh Jr. How you doing, James?
Good, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I thought the less they knew about me, the better was kind of the rule of thumb in the Joe community.
You know, the Joe community has heard from so many people so many times, and I was thinking, who have we not heard enough from? And when I thought of Joe celebrities, you came to mind because a lot of people know who you are, but I don't think a lot of people know, as much about you as they probably like. So we're going to try to fix some of that today and maybe walk down some paths that maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, we'll find out. And again, as always, I apologize for everyone knowing too much about me. That's rarely a good thing.
Yeah, so James apologizes in advance, and I apologize for questions that I'm probably going to ask him.
Hey.
And maybe some pictures later.
Oh.
So James is in for a treat.
Yeah.
So James, tell us, all of us have a backstory about how we got into Joe's, but, just tell the Joe community, what really got you into Joe's?
Honestly, it was the comics, but the Marvel comics, but it wasn't the Marvel comics until 1995. I used to bicycle down to the Meijer with my best friend, the one in West Carrollton. And they had a 5-pack for 10-pack for $5 or something. I bought it just on a whim, and they just stuck me in. And I was so lost. It was so different from the cartoon, and obviously not getting anything sequential. I think I got and 63 was my first issue back when I was 10. So I was just completely lost, and yet completely immersed. And I just kept buying them and started lurking more and more in high school on like Yojo. I mean, I remember when it was only 82 to 85, and the Devil's Due board. I mean, that's more or less where we met.
Yeah.
And not so many, between Devil's Due and JBL. But that, started to really connect with actual fans. I was never on the Yojo pit group or anything like that. For whatever reason, that was a little above my pay grade in terms of technology and all that. But that was it. I mean, I kind of lived a normal, quote unquote, normal college, non-G.I. Joe life, except for reading the comics, kind of when I really wanted to just be by myself or take a break from classes.
I mean, James, that's awesome that to hear that you got started, compared to a lot of other Joe fans, you got started late.
Yeah.
You got started from the comic and, in the, what did you say, issue 62?
I got 63 when it came out, okay. Roughly. My mom would buy us a comic book and a few other trinkets when we'd go fly. So I'd get one comic book, but I never read comics as a kid, hardly. I had less than 10. It wasn't really, I mean, obviously I collected the toys from 82 to 90 when I erroneously gave them up for video games and women. High school, the high school age, I graduated in 95. So whatever, it's got to be a big boy, put all that stuff in the attic. But yeah, technically 95 is when I started really hanging out with the cool kids, or at least getting more immersed in the minutia and everything beyond that.
All right, awesome. So it kind of brings me to how we met. We met at Toys R Us, and in Miamisburg, Ohio. And I was actually thinking about it today. I was like, how long ago was that? And I figured out it was about 17 years ago that you and I met.
Wow.
Yeah,
time flies.
We're getting old, getting really old.
You still want to hang out with me?
But I was the department supervisor. Back then they called them world leaders. I liked being a world leader. Yes.
I've always felt you as such. That Mike, he's a world leader, I tell you.
Take over the world. But I was in charge of the boys department, action figures, bikes, stuff like that. And I remember you coming in and, you just started asking about Joe's. And
Okay.
yeah, and that's how you and I met. You know, you're asking about Joe's, and you know, back then it was kind of slim pickings. Wasn't a whole lot coming out.
Oh yeah, it was 17 years ago. That would be 2003.
Hmm.
Excuse me. So Spy Troops.
Yep.
Yep. And that was right around the time when John and I met, and then and we were kind of coming in. It was all like right when Dayton was starting to get together, right?
Yeah.
Like we were starting to figure out that you live down the street from me, and I mean, miles of worlds apart, and yet right down the street
Yeah.
with this insane common bond.
Yeah. That's when we started to figure out that there was a lot of Joe fans in Ohio.
Oh geez,
I
yeah.
don't know what it is about Ohio, but it seems to be a hotbed of G.I. Joe fans.
The only thing I've ever figured out through this journey, or whatever you'd call it, is that because of Kenner, I guess, probably Kenner and probably the climate, that the toys were just a lot more of a larger percentage of our growing up. I mean, we obviously played outside. We all had Nerf guns or water guns and went to the pool and played sports and all that. But from whatever amount of research or listening I've put in through over the 20 some odd years of being whatever I am, I think we were a lot more toy oriented than maybe say California, Florida, the southern regions, different parts of the world or nation where there's more to do. That's really it. Once there's more to do, toys just simply diminished by all numbers.
We had a major toy company in our backyard.
Well, yeah, of course. So I'm sure we were probably getting more commercials and more, whether we knew it consciously or unconsciously, because it was also a test market if people weren't aware. And Cincinnati still was a test market for Hasbro. Might still be, I don't know. It definitely was when Mike and I first met.
So who was your first G.I. Joe purchased?
This is all, I proudly tell the embarrassing story that I wasn't into G.I. Joe when it first started. I mean, they were little, then they weren't Star Wars. They didn't have lightsabers, electron, I mean, the short answer is my first G.I. Joes were Zap, the Ram, and Flash. But I got them from a birthday party. I mean, I had all the He-Man, or I wanted He-Man and I wanted Star Wars. And I got G.I. Joe. But I wasn't complaining. I mean, it's toys. I was kind of a black hole disposal in terms of toys, I mean, 80s toys. Who wasn't,
Yeah, and look where it led you. I mean, you got G.I. Joes for your birthday, and then all of a sudden, I mean, you're doing G.I. Joe books.
Yeah, we'll blame that guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, that really brings us into the book. I mean, what really led you down to wanting to do a book on G.I. Joes?
It was, I mean, it was meeting you guys. It was getting in the mix. To back up the other fun story, since we're going down my historical memory lane, the comics gave me such an affinity towards certain key characters, the Dreadnoks and Serpentor and Zartan for sure, and a few other guys, 50 some odd figures that I didn't have. And I said when I graduated college, I'd just buy a few and go about my life. But I knew I always had kind of a collect them all mentality. Again, as the marketing kind of dictates or guides us young minds, I looked at Torch. He was the first one in the comic store, and I said, if I buy this guy, I'm going to buy them all. And I did. I mean, it was literally that.
Right.
For words, you know what I mean? So to that end, to the point of the question, I just amassed a giant collection. And I had the design skills, or at least I went to school for it. I wasn't really using them. And, I mean, I wasn't really using them, and I hadn't fully developed my skills with the programs themselves. I only really learned theory. They left us to figure out the programs for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I really actually do agree with it. I'm glad I learned theory over tech. Dead horse can learn tech. It's the theory that really guides you into a good design. And one day I'll really learn what good design is. But until then, so I wanted a project to hone my skills and obviously be something that I didn't know how to complete. I mean, I more or less had an idea, but I didn't technically know how to complete on a subject that I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final component was just meeting Mark Belamo at the 2006 Joe Con. Again, now that I'm in the mix with everybody, or 2005 up in Minneapolis, it had just come out, and I was still smoking cigarettes at the time. I'm not sure if he still does or not, but sat outside. You know, we had to step outside, and I kind of had a one-on-one or 1-on-10, just a small group of us talking books, and that was it. You know, I left JoeCon 05 thinking I'm going to figure out a way to make a book, and here we are.
Awesome. So I
15
want
years
to
later.
I want to really dive into the book making process, because I have seen firsthand, because I mean, I've had like this much involvement in helping you with your book, like this much.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it is complimentary to say that you and any other local guys that kind of had more access to me helped me out more than you could ever know.
I appreciate that, but I mean, when you talk about your book, I mean, there is, and you hear the phrase blood, sweat, and tears, but talk to us about the work that you put in to doing just one book, just one. And you've done multiple books, but just one.
I calculated 7,000 hours on the first one, but that's in part to 2,000 to 3,000 hours worth of hard drive failure loss. So I had to go through and redo all that. So that's kind of the rough, and I didn't sit there and micromanage every second,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I kind of sat there and did the averages with X amount of figures, and I think it takes me about 2 hours start to finish on a figure between shooting it. Background removal is always my biggest hang up. But if you know anything about me, you obviously know I have a flair for the dramatic, and put it mildly.
maybe a little bit.
Mind blown, yeah, with some folks. But I didn't want just white backgrounds. I could have just shot the photo on a white background and been done with it and scattered the parts willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, everything is documented, separated, outlined, rotated 90 degrees to the nth. You know, I am insane, but not for the reasons why anybody would imagine. You know, meticulous. I just wanted everything done right, and I wanted to give it the best that I could. All the accessories I came up with a coding system, you know, the Hoobit of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Yojo at the time kind of gave up on doing the Hobbit. I mean, they had bigger fish to fry. And I say that all the main contributors are really good friends of mine, and I couldn't help, you know, I mean, I couldn't begin to say that it couldn't be done without their input. So when I'm speaking candidly, you know, this candidly, the honest truth. They had too much going on. They didn't want to do with the Hobbit. I said, well, I'll organize them all and I'll make a pseudo Hobbit. Obviously the books aren't all tied in as intricately as they could with 82 to 94, but it's a book on 97 to 06. I kind of had to make, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to make it work within the confines of that. So, yeah. I mean, just everything about it. If you want it done right, it takes time.
Let me share my screen. I've got some images that I want to share with you.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, we're not getting to the good images yet. What I want to do is I want to really talk to you about, so talk to us about, like, so this is Rank and File issue 4. This is the regular edition of 4.
Yeah.
So convention exclusives. But so for instance, you know, I'm wanting to know how much work goes into the book. So you've got in the top left corner, you know, you've got Grunt posed a certain way. Why did you pose him that way?
I mean, that's if you look at it, I hope if I did my job right, that's an homage to the 80s comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first book was a perfect glue bound square angular book, 172 pages. The rank and files, if you don't own any of them, are more comic book. They call it saddle stitched, but staple bound books. So they're in essence a comic book. And obviously I liked all the comic books, but more to the point, comic book art is more iconic. It seems to draw people. This isn't the best example because the books have evolved. But every year I wanted specific iconic art or imagery to fit into the covers that also seemingly loosely, hopefully as direct as possible, emulated the figures in the book. So if people aren't aware, this is the Live the Adventure painting from the 1986 catalog. And there's some guys there that you'll recognize, Sergeant Slaughter, but others, Dial Tone, yeah. But beyond that, I mean, there wasn't a Crimson Guard in the book. This is convention exclusive. There wasn't a bunch of Cobra Troopers. There wasn't Beachhead. There wasn't all those guys. But there were other characters you can see. Lifeline is posed in the Lifeline pose, but he's not. The 86 red Lifeline. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, that grunt up there is the closest homage, or the closest recreation I could get with the for the 82 corner cover of Grunt that they'd use. I can provide side by sides or any subsequent images in the liner notes of when this video is publicized. But each corner, so then a larger point, each corner kind of takes a period from the corner art from the comics. There was 10 or so corner art. The rank and file is clearly an homage to the classic logo, and with the creator of the RAHC Guide Presents, I think his Marvel Group Presents. I'm by no means a genius on any of this. This is all kind of pulling an homage here, my homage there. Claymore in the bottom, Claymore Footloose, same head.
Mm-hmm.
It was in homage to the Spider-Man head, and even the even if you're never aware, each little corner piece of copy, like part 1 of 2, that's pulled directly from the Destro trilogy of the 116 to 118, and then the other little splash explosions in the corner. Those are all pulled from the comics. That but obviously modified to be more reference oriented or rank and file oriented. But that language is admittedly by no means not 100% mine. It's all former comic art.
Yeah, I think what I want everybody to notice is just the level of intricate detail that you put in to every part of these books. And let me pull up another picture here. So this cover right here, this is my favorite cover. And not,
I wonder why.
not because I'm on it, and people may not know that I'm on it, but I'm on it. I'm actually Cobra Commander right there.
I was going to save that as some trivia for the folks, but yes, see if they could guess. Go on.
Yeah, Cobra Commander is me. So, I mean, let's just talk about when we did the photo shoot for Cobra Commander.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just, here, Mike, put, on this Cobra Commander costume, let's take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how long it took us to do that photo shoot?
Oh, a few hours at least.
Yeah.
And you got lucky. I knew not to extend my your generosity too long. I could have had you all day there, Mike. When you say I get picky. But you were great.
So I remember wearing that suit. Of course, it started to get hot.
Yeah.
Taking multiple pictures, and I would raise my hand like a fraction of an inch, turn it, inside to fraction of an inch. The fist, it's like, okay, turn your fist, slightly this way, not down. But that's the detail that I want people to know that you put into the books, because you could have easily just said, here, Mike, just do this. click, okay, we're done. But we took like 3 hours doing it. And it was worth every second of it, because when you compare that to the original comic image, it's almost spot on identical.
You know, maybe it's just me. I mean, I'm sure too much of it is just me. But I've always said this, Mike, and this is to anybody that's doing anything. Well, obviously, give it your best. It's kind of a universal statement. But when we visualize these poses, when we remember the nostalgia and the memories behind the card art or the comic book covers or whatever, the catalog covers and beyond, you know, you have it in your head. We memorize that stuff. We sat there and stared at those. Everybody bought the newest figure, immediately cut the file card off or not, but they definitely sat there and highlighted and circled everyone on the back that they wanted, maybe crossed off everyone they don't want, you know, and kind of used those card backs as a checklist. I mean, at least I did, you know, a lot of them. So in the meantime, and throughout the year, I would sit there and stare at that card back, planning and strategizing which figure I'm getting when, and, you know, how my allowance worked out and so on and so forth. So in all honesty, it's kind of like, if you're going to do something like that, you know, which we all jokes aside, not only were you great, but we got lucky that you happened to nail it within what, the 20th shot. You know, I think that output really is as close as it's going to be to the original. But if you're noticeably off, be it figure or human recreation, I mean, people just know, just throws off the visual, I think. You know, if you're Snake Eyes, let's take 82 Snake Eyes. I don't even have to describe him. Everybody watching this knows what he looks like. If not Google. But if he's not pointing at like a 60, 70 degree angle up, if he's just pointing straight ahead, it's going to look stupid. It's going to look off, and it's not going to look the way you remember it. And at that point, just as far as I'm concerned, simply don't create the pose. Make your own pose, or enjoy the figures you see fit. But so there you go. If you're going to do it right. I don't know.
I also love the picture of the group there. That was at one of the Ohio area get-togethers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then that was, and yeah, but that's kind of the larger point, and larger, if I'm ever getting anything with these books and all that, spending time with you, putting that thing down there, putting the composite down there. You know, I never really want things to be about me as the author. I mean, you would, even it's ego or not, you would think you'd want it. I mean, just your de facto would be to go to you, but I wanted to be about everybody. I wanted to be about us and the memories that we enjoyed, and like there's all the different aspects of JoeCon. You know, I wanted to be as much as I wanted to try and convey the times that I had with you guys. So that's a localized thought to everybody that's going to own that book, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. So let's take a look at this picture right here. This is an interior page of one of your books, and it happens to be from issue 4. Talk to me about, so you're taking pictures of every figure, right? Like this isn't photoshopped, right? So first of all, you have to buy every figure or have access to every figure. What do you do, James, about variants?
I buy them.
So talk about that a little bit. How
sure,
is that why you don't have any hair anymore? Like,
that's certainly one of the main reasons.
Variants.
Yeah, if the doctor said they discovered the reason why and they cited that, I wouldn't bat an eye.
So I do remember some times that you were getting ready to wrap up an issue, and then all of a sudden a variant would come out or a variant would pop up, and you'd be like, "Oh no!" And that would put everything on hold.
Sure. I mean, you could, if there's few things I would ever critique, it's I didn't have a deadline. I'm not working for a company. I never took anybody's money, so I couldn't say, well, I've got to get this out by December 2020, and anything else that's not in there, so be it. For better or worse, I mean, I appreciate people's anticipation, but they never came out until I felt they were 100%. But yeah, I mean, but to be honest, okay, again, with meeting people and networking and Yojo in particular, getting to know guys like Pat Stewart, Phil, and Terry, at a certain and and those guys really just only stimulated my passion for variance. I enjoy it personally. I mean, again, when I say I got to have them all, I got to have them all. So, but after a while, you could start seeing a rhythm as to how they were gonna come out or what to look for. So I'm not going to sit there and say that I was predicting, oh yes, there'll be a crotch variant in wave 5 years from now. I mean, it's not like that. It's not Moneyball or whatever, but you could sit there and kind of predict, all right, well, this figure is going to use these parts. They're either still pulling from these old, variation outlets, or they're about ready to transition over. It's a good, if I get to the toy store within the first few weeks of them coming out, I have a good chance that this is going to happen, or I'm going to find something like that. And to round it home, like honestly, like people like to see it. People like to see it in the book, but they don't care. So the competition's nil. Maybe not so much with classified, but that's a whole nother story. But
we've spent plenty of mornings at Target together.
Oh yes, we definitely had some bonding time this last 6 months. Probably want to strangle each other time, but not because of you and I, but because of the frustrations. But
right, yeah,
that's another story for another time.
That's a whole nother interview.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this one. Another one of my favorites. And for a personal reason. I mean, I loved what you did. So, of course, this is an iconic image on one of the pamphlets. You wanted to be that kid. That's who you wanted to be. You wanted to be there with G.I. Joe, getting ready to go into battle with all the new figures that were getting ready to come out. And you recreated this with not only figures for your book, but also people.
Yes.
So that was another photo shoot that we did at my place.
1 or 2 or 3.
So that was another multi-hour photo shoot. But it was a lot of fun. And the reason that, I loved when you said you told me you were going to do this, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like brilliant. I mean, you're going to put yourself as a kid in the magazine with a wig.
Pseudo kid, but yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it looked great. But then I don't think some people understand the generosity that you have. So, we're sitting there doing it, and I've got 2 boys. And you said, why don't we do them in a photo shoot?
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah. So I'll share this with you. So that is my youngest son, Mercer. That is not an official magazine. That is a one and only print that you printed out for me. And I've got one of Clark as well.
Nice. I'm glad you're showing these.
Yeah, I mean, I want people to know just, the thought that you put into it. And it's not just about you. I mean, you being on the back of the actual cover is brilliant. But I've got this picture and the picture with Clark in it hanging in my office. Right, it's like right over here. I don't know if you can even see, but it's like over there, the 2 pictures.
Oh, nice. All right.
So I've got them hanging there.
On the stairs. All right.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I wanted to share that because, I mean, that one is, it's the brotherhood, it's the camaraderie. I mean, you and I have known each other for a long time. I've known you longer than I know my kids.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary.
Yeah. Even the kids are like, you're bringing that guy over here again?
They love you. They love you.
Well, I love them. I mean, like, and that's not only was I glad to do it for you, I'm really glad you're flattered you appreciate it, but they are great kids. And I have grown up with them. Literally, I remember when Stephanie would bring each one to JoeCon. I remember when Stephanie was pregnant at JoeCons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the least I could do for them, if anything. They're probably embarrassed by it, or they will be in a few years. But
Well, Mercer right now, he's getting into Joe's now, so he's
okay,
playing with all my extras.
okay, nice.
So you got to train. You got to train him young.
Well, yeah.
Get him
Until he
into
starts, until he starts playing with yours,
it. He knows better.
the good ones.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he'll be fine.
All right, so I'm going to stop sharing screen for just a second because I want to just talk about what are you working on now? I mean, a lot of people are like, when's the next book coming out? What are you doing? So tell us what you're working on, because I know, but I want everybody else to hear what you're working on.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm working on the 5th rank and file, and that's hopefully out for Christmas time. I know I've kind of said it'll be out this time for the last year and a half, maybe. Excuse me. And it's pretty cut and dry. We can post some images in the notes or whatever when this is published. I think after 5 books, you've kind of got my formula down.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll have fun seeing the covers in the splash page. I've hinted at the front cover and the splash page on my Facebook page, RAHC Guide, shameless plug. But beyond that, the back cover, I think it'll be really exciting. I'll say some people might not like it. Cough, Gary. I'll leave that to be a complete surprise. It'd be a lot I think it's apropos, and I think it's fun, but it's something different. But beyond that, I'm also working on, coincidentally, these books tied me into a BotCon book with Pete Sinclair and Jesse Wittenridge, Sean Tessman, and a guy that I never knew previously. Is a super BotCon fan, Dakota Rayborn. Actually, it's been more him and I in terms of photography and the data and all that. But yeah, it was something different. I've always enjoyed helping out Pete and Jesse and Sean with the Night Shining, Pete's Robocons. And I have a skill set, to be quite honest. It's you do enough of these books, you can kind of apply it out to other properties. And they consulted me, and yeah, we've been working on that, and that should actually be out fairly soon. I do, for better or worse, have to keep under wraps. You can see that they've posted a pre-order on a Big Bad Toy Store, so you can see the cover there, and I think it looks great. Well, I had nothing to do with it, so I know it looks great. There'll be 3 different covers out for that, and it'll be almost a couple hundred pages. It's going to be everything. I mean, I again, go to the BotCon official Facebook page or the botcon.com. Go to the Night Shining pages and read more of the details there. But from the get-go, they strove to have everything, including merchandise and pre-production, which was a nice change of pace for me, because I work with strictly the figures and vehicles that came out. That's it. I set my limited production. So it was a change of pace, and plus it was fun to work on something different besides G.I. Joe. And I think people that are into that will love it. And I think people that went to JoeCon, it was just, if anybody wasn't aware, it was run by Fun Publications, who also ran BotCon from 05 to 16. I think they would possibly enjoy that as well. So check it out.
Let's get an update on your books. I saw you posted on your Facebook page the other day that several of your books look like they're getting ready to sell out. So, I mean, your books are iconic right now. When everybody asks about, what kind of guide or book should I go to for modern figures, everybody says James books, rank and file. That's where you go. So what are people going to do now that your books are selling out?
I did want to say that I'm proud to say that I'm probably the best game in town, because I'm the only game in town. So that's why when people are being so flattering, they are getting down low. The good news is that it looks like a deal's been worked out with obviously I'll be selling myself, but a Big Bad Toy Store, and volumes 2, 3, and 4, which are getting very low. 3 in particular will see reprints.
Excellent.
So that's some breaking news for everybody watching here. That I'll be sending those files off for a smaller run than I normally do, rerun. They will again be updates with changes, so they'll technically be 2.2, 3.2, and 4.1. That's my first reprint on that, and that'll be good, because not only is 4 running low, but 5 is the second half of 4. If people didn't notice that in the part 1 of 2 and the images Mike shared. So simple business math will tell you that people will want to buy them both. I knew they'd be antsy if I didn't have volume 4 when 5 comes out. Obviously, people that have 4 will only buy 5, but I'm confident there'll be an influx of people wanting 4 with their 5, their peanut butter with their jelly, and they'll be able to have that. So good, and I'm glad that they're still selling. I'm glad that people want them, and I'm glad there's an interest out there, and hopefully that continues.
So can you let everybody know one more time? You already mentioned it once, but I want to make sure that people know where to go to get your books.
Shameless. I'm all about the shameless plug.
No shame.
No shame. RAHCguide.com is where you can order. If for some reason the website is fickle, I have had a few instances with because of COVID. I don't know why on that end, the hosting end, but it seems to be there. Just shoot me a PM. It's up, it's running. I'm still alive, still going. I tell everybody, if I'm not updating you, it's because I'm working on the book. I can do one or the other. You know, I can tell you it's coming, or I can get it one step closer to coming out. You know.
And what's your Facebook page?
Yeah. Oh, and the Facebook page is also RAHC Guide, all one word. If you're to, well, I mean, if you wanted to, it would be r.a.h.c.guide if you type it in the search, or just RAHC Guide after the / on the Facebook.com.
So for everybody out there that does not have these books, I highly recommend that you get them. If not, you're going to be sorry you didn't get them. So go buy them. Especially if especially if you want some first edition ones.
No, that's definitely true. If you're into that, you better get 4 fast. I'm already sold out of 1.1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, and 3. 0.1s are the only thing I have in stock.
So James, let's wrap our time together up. Let's take a trip down memory lane a little bit. So, I mean, we've talked a lot about the book, and a lot of people right now know you for the books, but people really know you for something else too. I mean, if you know James Kavanaugh, you know James either as noted author James Kavanaugh, or you know James Kavanaugh from COIL CON. And some things will have to be kept in the vault as far as stories. There's a lot of stories to share, but I wanted to really go into some of the things that happened at COIL CON. First of all, COIL CON was, I think for a lot of us, it was getting together with people that you haven't seen for a long time. And sometimes you see them once a year, and that's it. And that's a COIL CON. And then for you in particular, I think a lot of people looked forward to seeing you because of the smiles that you put on people's face and the laughter that you allow people to have, and escape from reality and wondering what the hell's James going to do this year. So I wanted to share some.
I was asking that same question.
A lot of times you ask, what the hell am I doing today?
Well, that's definitely true.
So I'm going to share some, here we go. Let's talk about the costumes. So I don't know if you've had a favorite costume, but I'm going to go through some of these costumes. I don't have all of them, unfortunately. I did notice that the COIL CON archives has been deleted. It's no longer available.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So that's a bummer.
Okay.
You have to do some finagling to try to get to some old pictures. But let's talk about some of these costumes. If you got a favorite, if you want to say, you know, what really led you to this costume choice, and you know, just take us down your thought process and some memories.
Well, in this one, I think you're starting towards the end of the story, telling the end of the story instead of the
Yeah.
beginning. If people have ever watched Memento, it might be the case, which is fine.
I put this first. I'll be honest with you. I put this first because this is one of my favorites.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad.
And the reason being is it's not the Serpentor costume part of it.
Well, there's always a catch.
Yeah.
It started with Crystal Ball, which I think we'll get to. But in 2005, I just wanted to be a funny guy. I don't know, drink some beer and put the lampshade on the head in the gorilla suit. You know, I recognize what I am, a bald man, and you know, I think I grew it out a little bit, and wild eyes and funny glare, and do all that up, and you kind of make this hokey looking crystal ball. And I never really wanted to. I'm cheap. If people don't, useless knowledge about me, despite my GI Joe spending. So I never want to put too much money into it, and I'm just enough talented artistically, with the bonus of John Cremeans, which I kept forgetting to mention. He's the guy that did the diorama in the background of Volume 4, Cremeans Creations, and again, another great guy that I've gotten to know locally, and then also utilize, you know, to accent my books for GI Joe. And John would also help me. John just, one thing led to another, and became my main man on the costumes. I was kind of the front man, and he's the behind the scenes. We were working in tandem, and Mike would come and help out towards the end, and we'd get Mike's input. And at Joe Con, you know, Mike was always winging me on the other side, making sure
I was usually the guy that was keeping your costume from falling apart.
Well, that's hey, trust me, that's you helped me out more than you never know.
Yeah, so funny story on this one. First of all, I mean, I've got another photo that I'm not going to show, but I had to, you know, like help you out in the bathroom.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. This costume right here with the headpiece, I think I went through like an entire pack of staples because it got to be so heavy that it would start to shift. And I continually stapling your costume back up.
Okay. And this is another reason why it's great for, not only am I enjoying our time together, but I'm going a mile a minute with all this stuff. It's always funny and great for me even to hear your point of view, John's point of view. Whenever we're sitting back, you know, at the end of the day or X amount of years later from con, I don't hardly remember that at all. I'm sure it was a freaking nightmare for all three of us trying to go.
Yeah.
Well, to tell everybody, it just became an evolving process, and it just became, for me at least, a game of beating myself. Of course, I enjoy, you know, I played the game to win, as I think everybody should play the game to win. I didn't cry if I didn't win the costume contest by any means. The winners certainly deserved it. And I didn't sit there and, you know, all right, guys, we got to win beforehand. And I don't think anybody's did. But yeah, during the event itself, yeah, do it right or don't do it. So to that end, the evolution just kind of became this, what can I do to top before? What could we do to make this, you know, kind of going one way for people and then flip it on their end and go another direction, you know, to kind of give people that awe and that laughter or fun or whatever they could do. So yeah, so kind of to elaborate with Mike, and more times than not, I would go down to the dinner in a regular outfit and sit there and act nonchalant or kind of steer people one way. When Mike mentioned my hair, I think now that I'm remembering, I think I purposely grew my hair out a little bit to let people think I was going to be Buzzer or some sort of character with hair that at the, you know, and then at 6:30, 7 o'clock dinner time, while everybody's having fun, I'm up there shaving off my head or doing whatever I could to, you know what I mean, to kind of shuck and jive, throw people. I don't know why I ever did it, but
to keep people guessing, because
yeah,
that was the biggest part of Saturday night what the heck is James going to be this year?
Sure, and I'm glad I'm glad everybody had fun. I hope they had fun. So I don't know if you have the other part to this story. So this is a Serpentor. And again, it's kind of janky. You could maybe stare at it for a while if anybody wanted to pause and see where the other shoe is going to drop. I think there's some clues there.
Yeah, I actually do not have the other picture.
Okay.
But yeah, just tell us. This was like the transforming Serpentor.
Sure. Yes. So here I came out in just obnoxious Serpentor as he is. He's grandiose. He's better than you or whatever. But if you look at it, I mean, and Serpentor was never at that point wasn't a really spectacular, mind blowing costume for anybody. For the direction I went, I always went again. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I always tried to do all the wacky characters. I mean, there were some amazing dukes, some amazing covert commanders, Iron Grenadiers, Baronesses, Scarlets. Everybody really looked great, and that's fine. I'm a goofy guy. Of course, I'm going to do these goofy guys, and so Serpentor couldn't quite cut it, and I knew that purposely. We did that. We wanted him to look good, but we didn't want him to look insane or spectacular because on the second or third round, they're supposed to strip him down, and if you really look, you can see I'm wearing jorts, socks pulled up to my calves. There's a bullhorn in the serpent staff. I'm wearing a polo shirt, and if you're catching on the clues, if you're a longtime Joe Con fan, you know what I'm doing. You strip the costume off, and then I reveal to be Brian Savage. And I dyed my hair gray. I grew it out to give myself the gray. He's also bald.
Brian Savage, the Joe Con Emperor.
Yeah, the Joe Con Emperor. Yeah. And we always enjoyed a great back and forth. You know, I mean, we came to appreciate each other. He dubbed me the director of silliness, his term. It's also certainly that term alone helps describe Ryman Savage more than you can know. So we always had fun. So of course it was supposed to be the last Joe Con 2016. They extended it for 2 years. So I just wanted to rib him a little bit, have fun, make the last show. He would always be up there trying to have a serious show, and he was always trying to beat me to whatever confetti explosion, or actually I did have confetti there. I did that on purpose. Brought confetti up so he would catch it, so he would think he got me on my big reveal, and then I had another reveal for it.
Well, we'll get to a costume here soon where he got his revenge on you.
Yes. Okay, y'all. This I command. Oh, there's the guy that started it all. Crystal Ball. Look at that guy.
Yeah, that's what started it all. And I remember when I first saw this picture, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's brilliant!" And I don't think Brian liked that costume too much, did he?
No, he didn't. At the beginning, and if he was on the call, I would be meaner or sillier or sassier or whatever you'd want to call it. It's come and gone. I think we can speak matter of fact with everything, and nothing's an issue, as people like to maybe make things in any sort of community. He at the time, and this is my perception, I think he wanted to run not a more serious, but a more straightforward club. He wanted it to be more straight focused. So we always had a very nice dinner and sit down, and you were more or less required. There was a dress code, put on a collared shirt and khaki pants, and some people wear suits and they want to look nice. And I think this year, people were wearing some costumes, like they just happened to wear them, or they were told, "Why don't you wear them at the dinner?" This is before cosplay, or if it was after cosplay. Cosplay wasn't a thing. It wasn't. There was no contest. There was no nothing. I mean, it was just, and you kind of were the geeks in the corner for for the costume contest, but everybody wanted to look great and they wanted to look real. So there was a lot of military men. There was probably guys that were in the military wearing their fatigues. A lot of camo. One lady was CoverGirl, but CoverGirl looks kind of straightforward for this hobby. And I think there might have been I think scrap iron might have been arguably the most exotic besides Crystal Ball. But even that, it was Little Savage's scrap iron was a hell of a costume. It was a great costume, and it even looked more applicable for the theme. And I wasn't even trying to do it to be look at me so much as just idiot in the costume. I don't know. Everybody's going left. I went right.
People just having fun.
Just having fun.
Having fun, getting some laughs.
And people didn't know what to make of it at the time.
Yes, that's where I remember. Yeah. I truly remember. I didn't get to go to that show. It's one of the few that I missed, but I remember getting on like the forums and stuff, and they're like, this clown dressed as Crystal Ball.
Yeah. Yes. Because people knew me as much as you knew everybody in the sea of names on these forums, but I never got in a chat. I was always kind of G.I. Joe, that people were really getting to know each other. Mm-hmm. And if I didn't get to know you in person, I would read and listen and respond and appreciate, but I still, compartmentalize my life. I think at least back then I had my Joe friends, my non-Joe friends. So people didn't know me. And it's probably a good thing. And Brian didn't like it. Or I think he liked that people were happy, of course, because he's putting on an event.
Yep.
But it was not the direction he wanted to go.
And it only went downhill from there.
Well, sure.
Let's see where it takes us. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how else are you going to follow up with Crystal Ball than a Raptor, And no, I'm not off my rocker by that time, at least, maybe later, but I was always trying to capture their gaze. So there's a ton of pictures of me with Crystal Ball looking like I'm ready to poop myself. He always had that.
I've got a good picture of that, yeah.
And I'll tell you guys one more. At the end of the night, I'm in the elevator. I had a long, exhausting night. We zipped around town, and I look in the elevator, and there's this creepy dude standing next to me. I was about ready to hit him. I was dumbfounded, and I look at it. It's me. The elevators had mirrors around. I look like David Cross, who at the time it's easy to describe it now, but. And also to my point, Lanny, I walk in as Raptor, and they stop me like I'm some nut from Bourbon Street trying to infiltrate their party. And they're right. But and Lanny stops me, and he's real official. And I'd kind of gotten to know him a little bit by then, enough to, hey, Lanny, how you been? Speak to him as I'm speaking to you right now. And I'm like, I'm here for the Joe dinner. And I luckily had my badge. I never always thought to wear them, but it's like, okay, just bewildered. Why is this guy in this costume? Everybody's dressed as you and I are right now, if not nicer. And he's like, and again, because that's the final component, that they're 12-inch guys. They don't even know or understand Real American Heroes. Certainly at this time in 2005, 2006, they didn't know. They probably didn't even care, And this is useless knowledge. Well, more mundane trivia. That was right at the transition between 04 and 06 was the transition between 12-inch majority Joe Con and a Real American Hero majority-based Joe Con. About then, it was equal footing. Not that anybody was ever trying to get one up on the other. It's just the circle of life. The 12-inch guys were fading, and the Real American Hero guys were thriving. So Lanny's like, "Are you the Falcon from the Adventure?" Mike, you'd have to fill me in. To this day, I still have no clue what, because that shows you how dumb I am regarding 12-inch. He goes, "Are you the Falcon from the Adventure Team Thrive set?" You know what I mean? Like, where eagles dare, set? And I'm like, no,
I'm
I'm
Raptor.
Raptor. So the way I looked at him with the 12-inch stuff was easily, 1/10 of the way he looked at me with Raptor, and he's like, well, okay, he just reluctantly lets me in. I don't even know if he remembers this, if he sees this.
Come on in.
Yeah, he's like, well, you got a badge, you got pants on, you got a badge. All right. And then I round the corner, and that's when all the real our guys see me, and they just lose it. Everybody's cracking up. I think that's me doing what they dubbed the Raptusi. I would take because that wasn't attached to me. I didn't have the straps fell off the feathers. So I would take it and I would kind of shake it on my rear or whatever while we're dancing. And people had fun, I think.
Yeah. Let's see what we got next. Oh yeah.
Oh my, yeah.
So I was involved in this. I was not in any of the costumes, but I did help put the costumes on.
Oh yeah, yeah. We couldn't have gotten these on without you and whoever else helped.
So funny story about this one, when you actually showed up to this show, you had actually, you had like a semi-mullet going.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Probably a skullet.
Yeah, it was a skullet. But you did that to throw everybody
really
off.
bald.
And then you shaved yourself bald. And you were in my room.
That's right.
I just remember going
apologize.
into a bathroom and it looked like a poodle got murdered.
My roommates throughout the years definitely deserve more applause and condolences than they get.
So in the picture with you is John Cremines. He's the one that did the costumes, and then Jay Hunger.
Yes.
I had the opportunity actually it was between Jay and I getting in the costume.
Okay, yeah.
It came down to it. And I'm glad he did, because I just remember he was saying how horribly hot it was.
That's right. You were guiding us into the room.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's right. Now I'm tracking. Again, like, you're going a mile a minute.
It's a multi-person process to get this thing going.
Fun story for everybody. John's Nemesis Enforcer's wings, he could pull a trigger or something and they would pop out. And it was fun. It was a nice little gimmick. Well, he tests it in the hallway before we enter, and it hits me in the eye. And it hits me in my good eye, i.e. my not good eye, the foam padding fake eye, because if he would have hit me in my actual eye, I would have lost my eye. It hit me that hard. So
I totally forgot that.
I'll never forget it. I should have lost an eye. I mean, it's not funny. So kids, test your costumes in a safe environment.
With plenty of time.
Yeah, we round the corner, and again, this is right. Now this year, this is where they started turning the corner, and they started realizing, well, this is the new JoeCon. This is
the new norm.
The new way we're going. I mean, now the irony is, I'm telling it one way. The irony is, Brian's a fun guy. Like when I think we're probably a lot alike. Now he'll want to strangle me at this point if he sees it, but when you do serious things, you take them seriously. So my books are fun in strategic areas. But I'm here to have fun. That's my vacation, and I'm here to hopefully everybody has fun with me. Well, he's trying to run a serious show. I'm me and anybody else that's with me that year is screwing around fun time. So so Mike, you might be able to elaborate on your side of the fence. But and again, at this point, I'm just telling them as it is. And we didn't expect any of this. We round the corner and everybody just stops. We're like, huh? Everybody stops. And then they all just start applauding, like the slow clap that you see in movies. And more people just come and circle us, like we're aliens or whatever from, something not seen. And that's when everybody knew that the dinner was going to be silly time for me.
It completely stopped everything. Everything stopped.
It did.
And I remember guiding you guys in, and you have this snake, this big long snake thing, and you have these little holes cut for your feet.
Yeah.
You're doing like a little shimmy, like your feet are doing like this, so you don't fall down.
Yeah.
And I was mainly guiding you, and then of course
Okay.
I'm trying to guide John because he's got these big ass wings. He's like can't move, and Jay can't see anything in the helmet.
Okay. Yeah. I remember him saying that. He's just kind of looking around aimlessly.
He's like completely blind.
So funny. Yeah, we walked in like a bunch of goobers on our end. We were like, huh? And everybody else.
Yeah, you won the contest though.
Well, there wasn't even a that year. There wasn't even a contest, but that was okay. So that was the joke. Like James won the contest again, or we won the contest, but there was no contest until maybe the following year. Yeah, 2008 was the first year.
Let's see what we got next.
When Brian finally said, "All right, well, we're doing a contest, and we're gonna get serious about this." Yeah, we're gonna get. I mean, it wasn't like there wasn't, a 5-piece cello band in the corner playing do 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 do. We were all in tuxes and monocles or whatever
right.
Prior to this, but it got a little looser as the years got on.
Oh no.
Okay, yeah, that's the one. So the first contest year, that's in that costume, I came in second place to geez, I can't think of his handle. I can picture him, but it was his daughter. His daughter was Scarlet. And she was a hell of a Ninja Force Scarlet. But yeah, this one, Roadblock and Cobra Commander, Snake Cobra Commander. Jesus, that was
It was a good costume.
Oh yeah.
It was a good one.
Especially when I left the Roadblock. If people can't see it, that's my legs, and then John designed the Roadblock front and the tail, and then that's me on the upper half dressed as Cobra Commander once he turned into a snake from the movie. And that thing was heavy and tedious, and the tail was pantyhose, so that was kind of falling apart eventually. Like all my costumes, you know what I mean? They're guaranteed to fall apart or your money back. I mean, by my fault, not by John's ingenuity. He can only do so much on the budget. But the best part was that I left it in the dining room, which towards they always converted the convention for the You Living at Home. They converted the panel room into the dining room and back every night. So Roadblock was in on all the panels for the Sunday shows. Everybody had him up there with him. I
totally forgot that, but yeah, he was just sitting there on a chair with his big arms, just Roadblock just sitting there.
Yeah, that mean face on it. Oh yeah, but that was a lot of fun. Oh yeah, and this was another one of my favorites. I always liked the ones where everybody was involved. You guys were. Plus, I got to be a rock and roller.
Yep, it's a Cold Slither. That was a classic.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was a lot of fun.
So that actually, this costume right here, because it was a group, actually led to a rule change with the club. And that groups could not be considered as a single unit in the costume contest.
Yes. But there was one fleeting glimpse of, or whatever you'd call it, chance of Brian trying to get to some normalcy in the shows. It was always trying to pluck the rules on it.
We always had a way around it.
That's true. Man makes a rule, man breaks a rule. Oh yeah, look at those sassy gams
with painted on legs, painted on boots. Not even real red boots, painted red boots.
Folks, I couldn't find some red socks, or I didn't have time, or I didn't care, and so we zipped out, and I spray painted my tube socks red.
It made the costume better.
I'm gonna have to agree, because it could only go up. And that was That was a, oh geez, if I had it, it's Clark or Mercer's age size singlet or wrestling doublet. So it was not built for a 6'3" man by any means.
No.
So that thing was tight. Those straps dug into my shoulders.
Good old bullet man.
Yeah. He had a bullet man. That got me on G5. Wasn't that the TV show or
Yep.
the network? All right.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
If I can pat myself on the back or roll my, oh my, look at that one. So again, folks, it's always an evolution. So Mike started with Serpentor 2016, but now they're going chronologically, I think. Yeah, chronologically. So at this point, 2010, at Hasbro, mind you. So was it the best place to do Pythona? I'll let you decide. What are you going to do? And now, surprisingly, a lot of people were asking for it. I mean, oh, okay, after Globulus and that. You know, what are you going to, you got to do Pythona. And a lot of people that you would think weren't really want to see that, to put it mildly. You're egging me on? You know, if you egg, you shouldn't egg me on with this stuff.
Be careful what you ask.
Be careful what you wish for. So I did it, and I think everybody had fun.
You even painted your toenails.
I got my tootsies done. That was Kobe's wife, Carrie, doing the makeup. She's a talented makeup artist. And then that's Debbie Godsow's Brawl. So I am indeed fully endowed there for the folks. Not permanent though. I didn't get any surgeries for this one. I'm not that committed to my costumes.
What do we have next? There we go.
Oh, hey.
Crimson Ball.
So
that's the face you were talking about earlier.
Yes, yeah. Well, he's a happier one. I think Crystal Ball was a little more constipated. That's probably because Crimson Ball's on his 5th or 6th Budweiser by that time. But. So the joke or the premise behind that is 2009 and the club just mailed in their set, in my opinion. I mean, I get it. 4-inch was hot. It was the first time they used 4-inch tooling, so which people were asking for the years prior, and they said they weren't going to use it. I was one of them. I said they should do both to get the new guys in. So they did it, and it sold well, so screw me, you know, but I didn't like it because I thought it was just a reuse concept. You know, if they would have done 4-inch and they would have done something completely different, I would have been happy.
Straight rehash of a previous 3 3/4 inch set.
And I don't think I was alone. I think Gary didn't even buy it that year, and you know, as a nonviolent protest or whatever you'd call it.
There were many of us that were not pleased.
Yeah, we weren't pleased. You know, again, I don't think it was the size or the mold type. I think it was just the reuse. So I said, well, if you're going to mail it in, I'm going to mail in my costume.
So you did a straight up rehash of a previous costume.
I did, yeah. And I think
it actually turned out better this time.
Well, that's, yeah. If there was anything, I said, well, we'll redo it. We'll mail it in, but we're going to make it better. You know, maybe, I think it was tongue in cheek with Flint with gloves. That was going on at the time. Remember, they got Flint in 2007, but he didn't have gloves. He's got to have gloves. So they redid him with gloves. Boy, howdy. Yeah, we could have had probably 2 or 3 new different figures, but we got Flint with gloves. I get it. Yeah. I like all the eccentric. I like variants of characters. I want as many characters. A lot of people love those core characters, and that's great. The majority won, as it should.
So who do you think we have next, James?
Oh wow, so many to choose from.
I don't have them all.
All right.
Let's see. So this is the year that you almost died.
Yeah. You can say that.
So why don't you tell us?
There's a few of those years, but this is the year I almost died in the costume contest.
Yes. And Brian Savage tried to murder you.
He did. So I zung him in 2016 as him. I did my homage to Brian Savage. Okay, y'all. This I command y'all. You know, the Serpentor.
Line up,
So
line up.
line up, yeah. Razzing him. So he decided I handed him the opportunity. I'll make no mistake about it. You know, as much as I had this grand idea in my own right, it only set myself up for his Emperor Strikes Back moment. And you can't exactly see it at this point, but John had taken a refrigerator box, and or did you help out at all in this one? I know you're.
Yep, I helped out on this. So John, yeah, had a refrigerator box. It was completely covered in outer paper, like a shipper box.
Mm-hmm. And to
So
look like an FSS box.
yeah, so you open it up and there's Dr. Isotope, and then inside is you, but you're waiting to kind of be released.
Well, so the box said FSS whatever on it, and everybody was thinking that I was doing a Real American Hero contest, because at that point he divided it up into 12-inch Real American Hero and Baroness, I think, and kids, 3 or 4 different options. So everybody's expecting me to go up there for the Real American Hero, but you know, again, we got to change it up, keep people guessing. So I entered the 12-inch contest. Who else am I going to do with the glowing mustache wearing Dr. Isotope? But then John, as you can see, you're kind of looking at it at the middle of the process. Mike and John had painted up the box to look like a 12-inch, the actual Dr. Isotope box. So when John came up and started to peel off the paper, because everybody's expecting me to get up for Real American Hero, and I didn't. Like, why is he not getting up? You know, why is he getting? I think they did the 12-inch first. So why is he getting up and doing the 12-inch first? You know, that's not what it says on the box. And then there's the grand reveal, and then I came out. Oh, Dr. Isotope, hey, how we doing, guy? I don't know if you have an actual picture of the costume.
Couldn't
But
find one.
okay. So and I apologize. All right. So there's the long story short on the setup. So I'm sitting there. I come in mid-dinner and sit in that box. I did that on purpose so people could sit there and get all wound up. Again, get people guessing, get people excited and having fun.
They also they started to forget about you too. They're like, whatever.
Yeah, well, of course, the box is just sitting there. The box isn't moving. You know, Brian takes a, and I have my phone in there, so Brian's in there talking to me, and he's calling me. Brian decides to take his sweet old time and delay the contest. So he did things out of order just to get me stewing in there, see how long he could keep me in the box. And I have this wig on, I have this glow in the dark paint on, I have that suit is a sweatsuit. It's
an
designed,
actual sweatsuit.
Yeah, to get people to lose weight. So I'm literally in there and it felt like I'd been in the river at the end, like, because it really is tight on the ankles and everything else, and the sleeves. I would have to go like this to get my sweat to drip down my body into these. I know everybody was looking forward to hear this. Into my legs. So I'm walking around kind of like fishbowl legs of pure sweat. And he's going in there as long as he can. And I've had a couple beers in there and certainly a couple drinks, probably some water. And I'm like, I get to the point, I'm like, hey man, just to let you know, you can leave me in here as long as you want. I'm laughing, of course. Like, I can dish it out and I can take it. I think it's funny. I mean, good for him that he's got the moxie. You know, I'll certainly be the butt of the joke if somebody's got a good one. I go, you can leave me in here all day long. You know I'll wait it out, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a stain on your floor if you don't get this going, because I need to use the restroom. And he had that up and going in 10 minutes. Then he had the costume. You know what I mean? I couldn't see anything, but I guarantee you guys never seen that man move so fast.
So
But it was fun.
yeah. So you told everybody you had glow in the dark paint. So how much glow in the dark paint did you have by the time they let you out of the box?
None. I don't think you
It
tell
was
me.
it was all gone.
It was all gone. I was
You
just
may, I think you can see on the picture a little bit on your cheek area, but yeah, it
okay.
was. And we tried to turn the lights down. That didn't work. So
Yeah, no.
we were going for the green look.
Well, you can see, looking at it, you can see my lower half below the goggles and above the goggles. That I'm as much color as I'm ever going to have in my forehead, and some sort of glow in the dark below. Is there any other? Do you have a photo of me out?
I don't.
Oh, I'll have to dig one up, see if we can put it in the liner notes.
Surprisingly, James, this is my favorite costume that you've ever done.
That's a lot of people's favorite.
Because it was so original.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad people really liked it. If anybody's not aware, it's a Creo, a life-size Creo, and of course it's Creo Zartan, as I'm the wannabe master of disguise. And we went up there. I won that year, right?
You did.
Yeah, that was good.
It was between you and Tight Ship.
Oh yeah, and she looked good.
She did look good, and if some backstory to that. So of course Zartan, being Creo, he had his face mask.
Yeah.
So he came out and he had the regular face mask, and we revealed it, and it's a Zartan. And then Tight Ship was up there, selling her goods. And everybody's clapping, cheering, everybody's into it, and we're like, okay. So we pulled off Zartan's chest plate, and James shook his moneymaker. What he could. I mean, he was not shaking very much. It's like
very blockular, yeah.
Well, won it hands down.
Well, the joke to everybody, the joke was always, if there's any sort of competition, and this is just the truth with any sort of costume contest. Useless knowledge. I've been running around outside of JoeCon for years. I used to go and do costume contests to make money. During Halloween or whatever, I would do Orgasmo from the movie, or Michael Jackson, or Axl Rose, or whoever. I do have an insight on how costume contests work in that regard. And it's always been a running gag that one of your biggest competitors is never the most intricate, wild, spectacular costume in the room. It's the nurse, the nurse with the accentuated chung chung chung. So that was always kind of a running gag with me, and it's right. It's a majority wins contest, and I can't blame them. Who doesn't want to see that? I certainly like seeing it. So that's why Zartan, in a strange twist, was designed to remove his top, so he could also be topless and show everybody how it's done.
Out of all the costumes, I think this is probably my favorite, because it was probably, surprisingly, the most difficult costume to put together.
Okay.
Because it was so, and it's hard to tell in this picture, but this costume was humongous on you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a gigantic, block sitting on top of your body, and you see your feet down at the bottom of the picture.
Yes.
It was a huge, huge costume. And to engineer it and work it all out, and you could actually move in it. I mean, it was pretty amazing how we made it work.
Yeah, this is where you and John shone. I'd have to give the bulk of the credit to you guys, because obviously, because at that point they were, you guys would work on it. John mostly have it all ready beforehand, bring it down, and I just hopped in and did my thing. I mean, we would always strategize, the three of us and whoever else, but this one in particular, I had the least hands-on in terms of the actual creation of it. So good for you guys for
surprisingly this costume, since we had such a long way to travel on this one. John did not pre-paint or do anything. So John and I were up for like 2 nights in a row getting into his hotel room, and we were painting and putting this costume together. Like, seriously, we finished this costume about 30 minutes before you walked in the room. And we're like, you know, dry paint, dry.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the painting, everything. I mean, you know, John's gluing stuff together. I did all the painting. It was crazy, but it worked out fantastic.
Oh, yeah. You guys did an amazing job. Yeah, as always, I can't ever thank you enough for jumping in and doing all that.
Well, we got one more.
Uh-oh. Hey!
Nothing better than James nothing better than James in a green leotard.
Yeah. Man's got to do what a man's got to do. Well, that's Leitao, folks, if you're not aware. And I don't know, that song, was it Psy, that Gangnam Style or whatever? As Kevin Watts would say, I play Gangnam Style. Play Gangnam Style. Kevin's from Philly. And I really do hope he sees this, because I like making fun of Kevin. But I don't know. I saw Leitao. He's already a kooky character. What else was I going to do at this point? This is 2013. We've already, did we jump the shark with Pythona? No. Did we jump the shark with Dreadnoks? Maybe, or maybe with Pythona, maybe. This is before Creo Zartan. That was 14. So Leitao is just the next step, I guess. And I thought I'd put him in a pseudo tux and let him jump around and fire off confetti. Oh, I made bucks of all my costumes. Remember that? I made Kusan bucks.
Yeah.
And I threw them out like it was money and whatever. And the kids liked it. Well, kids like any idiot throwing out confetti and fake currency. What can I spend these on? I don't know, whatever your parents will buy you. That's how much a Kukusan dollar is worth in this economy. So there we go. Wow, that was a memory lane. That was
good trip down memory lane. Hopefully put some smiles on people's faces. Just going through those pictures, I mean, it brings back so many memories to me.
Oh yeah,
things that I've forgotten about, and like I had totally forgotten about, putting that Zartan costume together at the last second. I mean, completely forgot about it. Now it's just like, whoa. Hopefully people enjoy it. James, I wanted to really thank you for jumping on with me and talking about yourself. I know it's not easy always talking about yourself, but I think people needed to know more about you. You are a true Joe celebrity. And you're an icon in the Joe world, and I really appreciate everything you've done.
Well, I appreciate you for having me, man. Obviously it's great when we chat. I was kind of laughing, lamenting when I was getting ready. I should just drove on over and hung out and done it there, but next time,
yeah,
or this weekend, give me a shout. But yeah, I mean, but to my point, it's obviously I can't thank you enough for putting me on and putting up with me, but it's always great to hang out with you and anybody else in the hobby.
Outstanding. So one last time, James, shameless plug. What's your website?
www.rahcguide.com. Be there.
Outstanding. So everybody, if you have not bought his books yet, buy his book.
Please. I need gas money.
Just kidding. All right, James. I appreciate you being on. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Mike. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Hope you're enjoying a good virtual COIL CON. Sucks that we can't see each other this year.
We'll be seeing you all again and live and in person in 2021.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everyone.